If you could shed any light for us on.
I think one of the things that the American people love most about this president is that he often says what they are thinking, but sometimes lack the courage to say themselves. And I think yesterday at this podium, you heard President Trump express great frustration, perhaps even anger, with the previous administration's policies, many of which have led to the crises that our country is currently facing and that this president is focused on fixing.
Donald Trump could not wait to get to the podium at the White House today and blame the aircraft collide on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI hires, even though there is no evidence of it at this point. When every single person he was standing on the stage with, by their definition, is a DEI hired, which means, according to them, they're unqualified for the job. And that includes Donald Trump to Pete Hegseth to Sean Duffy to J.D. Vance. All DEI hires.
Yes. When you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, do you pray that your plane lands safely, or do you pray that your pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question. Caroline is doing something which I admire so much. When you take a look at what is going on, Libras are melting down. Oh, Trump's called out DEI about what happened pertaining to the plane crash. When I look at the kind of reasons they are putting out, the hate I see, it is extremely concerning. At a certain point, when I look at the people even saying this, Sonny Austin, this guy would love CNN. I don't even want to pronounce his name. They all fall in line spreading these lies.
Was the air traffic controller in the DCA tower on Wednesday night hired or not fired at some point because of his or her race?
That investigation is ongoing, and so when we have updates on the exact individuals who were involved in the collision, including the air traffic controller, also the pilots of the helicopter and others, we will confirm those. I don't want to confirm names from this podium today. We're not in a position to do that. But I will say the president has still rightfully pointed out that there has been problems with the aviation industry over the past several years. And this started under Barack Obama in 2014.
And when the president, go back to the plane crash for one. Let me go back to the plane crash for just 1 second.
You're interrupting your colleague, but sure.
Sorry, I thought you called on me.
I called on Lindsay.
The president this morning said the Black Hawk helicopter was flying too high. I'm wondering if he's basing that on what he learned from investigators, and if you could offer a little bit more of a window into how he is keeping abreast of this investigation.
Sure.
Is the NTSB briefing him separately? Is he meeting in the Situation Room? You just sort of offer a window into that.
Yeah, the president based that statement on truth, because it is truth and it's fact, and it was relayed to him by the authorities who are overseeing the investigation into this horrific plane collision. And the president, as I said in my opening remarks, continues to be briefed on the collision by everybody across his cabinet, the Secretary of Transportation, the Secretary of Defense, the NTSB, who the commissioner there was in the Oval Office with him yesterday. Lindsay. Lindsay, go ahead. Lindsay, go ahead. Thank you. If you are an American who has spent many years studying aviation and you graduate from school and you're an air traffic controller based on skill and merit, and then you apply for a job and you're forced to fill out a biographical questionnaire asking you the color of your skin and asking you where you're from in details that aren't relevant at all to the job description, I think that deteriorates the morale of people in this industry. And if you talk to people in this industry, they'll tell you that. In fact, many of them filed a lawsuit against the FAA a couple of years ago under Joe Biden's administration because they were denied positions because of this DEI hiring practice that was putting identity politics over merit and skills. That's unacceptable. And I think just to put a fine point on this, because this is the third or fourth question I've answered on this subject, when you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, which every one of us in this room has, do you pray that your plane lands safely and gets you to your destination, or do you pray that the pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question, and as President Trump said yesterday, it's common sense.
Yes, CNN recently deleted a segment where they call out Trump, blaming Trump for what happened for reasons I don't understand. What Trump advocates is simple. When I see people complaining, oh, Trump is calling out DEI, I don't know why they're freaking out. Oh, Trump wants to attack black people. Things like that. It is insane. When you are employing someone, please, I should not see, issue of skin color in it. Look for the qualification. If the people are qualified, that is what you should focus on. We saw that during the Biden administration. That is what exactly they were doing. Hiring based on things like that. It will be difficult for you to hire competent people in certain positions. Your skin color should not determine your job. Yeah, certain factors should not even be. Your qualification should only be the factor to allow you into certain positions. Like Karen said, if you are in the air, you don't focus to see who is the pilot. What you do is pray to receive. That is all you focus on.
A lot we don't know about the collision that claimed 67 lives here last night. But with the investigation only a few hours old, President Trump entered the White House briefing room today, took a moment of silence for the victims, and then almost immediately began to speculate, while providing no evidence, that diversity in hiring and policies of prior administrations somehow caused this disaster. But in a similar fashion to how he reacted to the New Orleans terror attack, falsely linking it to migrants, today he suggested that diversity initiatives were to blame, even as the bodies of these survivors were still being pulled from the Potomac. And seemingly, the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter, don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation? Here's what is true. The standards and training to become an air traffic controller in the United States, which are the highest in the world, are relatively straightforward. You must be a citizen, speak English, be younger than 31, and have either enough work experience or a college education. There is no mention of race or gender. The president referenced President Obama, who expanded the hiring process by including people who may not have gone to one of the 33 schools that offer specific training to be an air traffic controller.
Yes, I like the fact that she is actually getting to the point, calling out the Biden administration and the Obama administration, what Obama did, having certain kind of conditions of hiring people. The Biden administrations, there were questions during his time, like skin color, a lot of questions attaching to, race before you're being hired. I think I saw some people suing, things like that. Trump saying this every day, it is because this was the issue. Now, they are attributing like Trump is attacking black people for doing this. Trump want to eradicate, doesn't like black people. I don't get the point. People saying this get me irritated when I even hear it. Should you be hired into any position based on your gender or color? That should not be happening. This is Trump's focus. Hire people based on competence.
Is why these confirmation hearings are important in the first place. One of the common threads between all of these nominees has been the question, the correct one. Are they qualified to serve in these highest positions in government? You have more of these confirmation hearings happening today. Jerry Moran happens to sit on the Intel Committee, among others. He's one of the senators who we played from Kansas, who talked about the fact that he lobbied for this exact flight from Wichita to D.C. It again speaks to the way that members of Congress and others in Washington use DCA because it's so close and because it's so convenient.
Bottom line, are DEI policies at the FAA to blame?
I put my head in my hands, Pam, when the president said that. This is something that has been pushed by the far right for a few months now, that DEI policies are to blame in a degradation of safety in aviation in the United States. But frankly, the president is getting out ahead of his skis here. What he has said is not only unprofessional, unpresidential, inconsiderate of the status of this investigation, but frankly, it is just unhinged. That he could even say with any sort of certainty that diversity, equity, and inclusion policies had any part to play in this accident. Remember that 67 people are dead. I hate to get so upset here, but this is something that investigators will really need to pick apart piece by piece, and that is going to take some really significant time. We're not even 24 hours after this crash. We're barely even 12 hours after this crash. And he is saying with a lot of certainty that the blame is on DEI, and the blame is in some ways on air traffic control and air traffic controller hiring. I have to feel for the air traffic controllers in the tower at Reagan National Airport who had to essentially sit there helplessly and make the call to first responders to say we have a serious aircraft crash at 8:48 last night. Let's parse out some more of this, because it's really significant here that President Trump also put some of the blame on Democrats. He said that Transportation Secretary, now former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, engaged in BS. He actually used the full word live on television. The fact of the matter is that Transportation Secretary Buttigieg was very hard on aviation safety. There was a day-long safety stand down because of the rise of near collisions on the runways at commercial airports nationwide that really took off in 2023. I did a sit-down interview with Buttigieg. He was well-versed on the topic. He knew the points. He knew where the blind spots were, and the FAA and the Department of Transportation from the top down of the Biden administration was taking that problem very.
Yes, this screenshot here should tell you everything. The Biden administration knew that this was a problem, but they did nothing. I'm really asking this. Why are military aircraft training in spaces like this? It should not be happening. If you notice, I actually put short clips at the end of my videos. That is for the algorithm. You can end here. God bless you, and please don't always forget to share the video.
It's essential.
Early on, immediately.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10 to her.
No, the EU does not treat the U.S. fairly on trade, and that he has some big complaints. Is that true?
Right? And it doesn't mean that we should sit and pretend that it's suddenly okay, that this new presidency is just going to keep on keeping on. That is not the case. And because, final point for me, a year and a half is because...
This is the United States.
You're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit.
This lady is not. I want to end the video by saying this for people who have been following me. You realize at the end of the day, I usually put videos at the end. This is for the algorithm. If you see this, you can skip. You can watch the video to a certain level and stop.
Where awful things have happened. So
over. And sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Future president and his gag are a funky in policy.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning, and I flew here last night. I was on a plane, started getting texts.
So I am evacuating my home.
What we need to do against what we know is right, and these are the results.
Trump is now calling that Gavin Newsom should step down.
This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds.
The situation is beyond control.
For the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
What do we do?
Right now you're looking history, remember it.
As a country about January.
Yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know, but it's like, it's sad.
I want to be
Jim Jordan.
In the 5 tenants of
Palisades Village right here. This is the town center of sorts.
And he did this little dance.
Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii. Had some.
And then we watch news or talk to my friends.
Now, look, I have a lot of fear that as
I'm not going to dignify his remarks.
So now, in the wake of a national tragedy like Wednesday's fatal plane